Morning. Hey, welcome to my world. Isn't that cute? Okay, maybe it's not cute, but I love this cup. It's gigantic. I got it at, I know it's hard to read because it's backwards. I got it at Dollywood. I've talked about this cup in the past. I have a white one, a black one, and a red one. I got them on clearance for $7.99. And they were normally either $16.95 or $17.95. So if you know me, you know I love a bargain. And I thought, that's a really good price for a huge coffee mug. I wish I could show you how big around it is. You can sort of kind of get the gist of it with just how big it is in my hand. But after I got it home and used this one, yeah, this is the one I've been using a few times, I realized why they were on discount, why they were so cheap. This base was glued with a glue that wasn't very stable. So that's an easy fix. I got out my, is it E6000? If you're familiar with good glues, I think it's E6000. I ended up putting a couple of globs on it and setting it down. Now it didn't settle perfectly, like there's a little bit of a difference and it's not perfectly level, but it's perfect enough that I wouldn't notice it if I didn't know. If I hadn't been the one to fix it, and if I wasn't the one drinking out of it all the time, I wouldn't notice it. The red one and the white one haven't gone kaput yet. I don't use them very often. It's funny because I don't run it through the dishwasher. It says do not put in the dishwasher and do not microwave. Okay, I can do that. I think just the heat of the coffee in the cup, just coming out of the coffee maker, even though our coffee maker doesn't make super hot coffee, I think that's what did it. The glue just went, nah, I'd rather do craft. Hey, P-Tuck Star. Hello, you are my #1 so far. Death, 3 duels with Adam. Hi. I don't know what that is, but I'm assuming it's a game. Am I right, Death? Is that a game? Nice to see you guys. I assume you're both gentlemen. I don't know. I just noticed that there's water on my computer. It's actually coffee water. Hey, Pitekastar. Hey, Mr. Man. Mr. Man. It's not a game? Oh, okay. Do you duel, like for real? I thought dueling went out in the, oh gosh, what, 1800s? All right. I need something to put my coffee cup on. I can't put it on my computer anymore because it's kind of pottying on my computer and I can't just set it on my wooden chair here. I'm so cool. You think so, huh? Cool. All right, I found something to set it on. There we go. I don't know why my coffee has fluid around it. Oh, you know what? I'll bet when I washed it, let me show you what the deal is with this. Yeah, Mr. Man, I believe I can make a moderator pretty easily. So when I wash it, I don't always turn it upside down. So there's a little well here where water goes. So when I drink, the more I drink, the more water comes out of that little well. That's amazing. Okay, we're going to talk about, you know what, guys? Do you know football? No. I don't know American football very well, and I definitely don't know football like soccer, what we call soccer. Mr. Man, I don't need a moderator right now, hon, but thank you for offering. I'm actually, dang it, I'm going to be okay today, but I do appreciate the offer. Someday I'll get moderators. I just don't have enough people ever in my chat to need a moderator. I'm pretty good at putting people on timeout or, you know, kicking them out or whatever. Yeah, I don't know soccer at all. Played soccer once in the 1970s. Once, and I broke my big toe. Toe-to-toe with Lori. She was a friend of mine. She was on the opposite team. We went toe-to-toe. I was not diagnosed with a broken toe because my parents didn't believe in taking someone to the doctor. If it was just, you know, hairline fracture, or like the time I was skiing and my knee got twisted a little bit and it ballooned up to about twice the size of my other knee. Nah, that's no reason to take it to the doctor. So I ended up, actually, after I broke my toe, well, what I self-diagnosed that I had a broken toe. I was going skiing that weekend, and I went snow skiing with my friend and her family with a black, purple, painful, miserable toe that I got to shove into a ski boot and ski on all day. The only good part about that is I have a condition called Raynaud's syndrome, which means my body overreacts to cold and it shuts down the capillaries to my extremities. So my feet are almost always frozen when I'm skiing because my body says to my extremities, it overreacts. We're gonna die, we're gonna die. It's 50 degrees. Ah! So my fingers and my toes stop feeling anything, good or bad. And it also shuts down my my face. I have a hard time talking because I mean it like shuts everything down. Pulls all the blood into my core to keep me alive. It's really a pain in the neck. Actually, my neck stays fine. Anyway, yeah, so I have Raynaud's syndrome. You can look that up. I was diagnosed by a doctor when I was in my 40s with Raynaud's because I was at the beach. I was actually doing a excuse me, asthma, people, I don't have the cough, right? I don't have black lung or anything like that. I was at the beach doing a photo shoot for a calendar, which sounds a lot more impressive than it actually was. I don't think the calendar was ever actually produced. But I was there in my bathing suit. My clock is telling me it's 9 o'clock. Thank you, clock. Anyway. And I looked down. I knew I was cold. I looked down and my toes, two of my toes were purple. There was no reason for that. My husband showed up. He rode his motorcycle to the beach. He came about, I guess, about a half hour after I got there. He shows up on his motorcycle in shorts and a tank top, and he's fine. I'm standing there. Yeah, I was in a bikini, but I had a bathrobe or something to cover myself with. I was so cold that my toes were purple and my fingers were shutting down. Like this finger here was white and I don't remember the other ones. So the next day I called my doctor and I said, hey, this happened. And he said, it sounds like Raynaud's, because I actually had Googled my symptoms and it said Raynaud's and I didn't know what that meant. So my doctor said, first of all, I said, hey, I think I might have Raynaud's. And he's like, why do you think that? Right? Because we're all internet doctors now, right? And I said, well, this happened yesterday. And he said, yes. So I made an appointment, went in and talked to him. He said, the good news is there is a treatment for it. It's a medication that, I don't know, it opens up the capillaries. He said it lowers your blood pressure and opens the capillaries so that the blood can get to where it needs to go, which I don't understand all that stuff, but that's what he said. He said, that's the good news. The bad news is you are not a candidate because your blood pressure is so low naturally. If I put you on the medication, you can't. It's not okay. So he gave me exercises I can do. He gave me some advice. He said, add salt to your food to try to raise your blood pressure. I've never really been one to salt my food, so that was an interesting change in my diet. I started salting my food. Hey, everybody. Hey, John. John Picard. Hi, Luca. I'm going to be talking about, Biker really said hi. I'm going to be talking about weight loss and healthy weight in my old age because I'll be 63 soon. Sorry, I've got to get on my computer. So I have to get into, oh, come on. Sorry, guys. I've got to get into my channel on my laptop here. There we are. That way I can actually be part of the chat now that I'm in there. Make sure the volume is off. Yes, okay. Oh, he said, do pinwheels. Is it pinwheels? Like swing your arms around really big if you lose the feeling in your fingers. Salt makes everything better. It really does, John. I have to agree with you. It really does. But too much salt is not good. I can't handle too much salt because I grew up in a family that was, I'll call them California hippies. That's my dad's side of the family, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way at all. But they were very, very into healthy eating. So we had a lot of salads, we had lean meat, we had vegetables. We didn't have a lot of desserts. Dessert was a special thing in the 60s and 70s. It wasn't an everyday thing for sure, but in my family, it wasn't very often. I think ice cream was semi-common. We would go down to Thrifty and get an ice cream cone for 5 cents. That's how old I am, you guys. A single scoop of Thrifty ice cream was 5 cents. I was completely traumatized when it went up to 10 cents. Anyway, gosh, where did I go? Where did I go? Oh yeah, add salt to your diet. Then he also, he said drink hot coffee, and he suggested regular coffee, and I'm pretty much a decaf coffee drinker, but he said no, drink regular coffee and add salt to your food. That'll help raise your blood pressure. Well, I ride a motorcycle, and there are times my husband and I would go somewhere and we would leave early in the morning when it was kind of chilly. And when I say kind of chilly, it was chilly to me, not my husband. He can ride in a tank top and a pair of shorts when it's, 70 degrees, 60 degrees, whatever. Not me. So I remember we were going down this highway and it was a little chilly. And my feet and my hands shut off. Like they stopped. They still worked. Like I could still operate the brake and the clutch and the throttle. But it was getting to the point where I was concerned I might not be able to. So I had to pass him on the highway. And I don't remember if I did, this signal for we need to stop or whatever I did. I gave him the hand signal. This was a long time ago. That meant we need to stop. So we went to a McDonald's. I got a hot cup of coffee, which helped me. Sorry. Jaja, I'm right here. Hey. See, she has a bark and a bite. I have a gun. Hey. I'll protect you, girl. No need to be scared. Yeah, go back in the bedroom and bark. Anyway, we pulled over, got a hot cup of coffee, which helped me in 2 ways, and that's what the doctor said. He says, get a hot cup of coffee, wrap your hands around it, and drink it. It'll help heat you up in 2 different ways. Plus, it'll raise your blood pressure a little bit and get... Now that's a weird one. Why did he want me to raise my blood pressure if the medication they were going to give me would lower my blood pressure? See, that's why I'm confused about this whole thing. Anyway, I have Raynaud's. Stomping my feet helped get the blood back to my feet. Took us about half hour, 45 minutes, whatever, till I was ready to get back on the bike and operate all the controls by myself. Now, if I was a passenger with my husband, it wouldn't matter. My feet don't matter, my hands don't matter, and all that. Yeah. You ride bikes still. Hey, Gary. Hey, Mr. G. Sorry, guys, I'm not paying too much attention to the chat, and I do apologize. The year of the bike ride, probably 10 years ago. I'm guessing, just based on where we lived and what we were doing. It was probably about 10 years ago. There's my girl. But I want to talk about dieting and staying healthy in your old age. If you struggle with, you have a 2001 Fat Boy. Oh my gosh, I love a Fat Boy. I love a Fat Boy. The only thing I don't love, and I don't notice if you've noticed this, is the solid wheels on a really windy road. I did a lot of riding in the high desert of Southern California, and I've ridden all across the country and back. So the plains, the solid side wind, the idea of it scares me. because I know there have been times when we've got a side wind and I'm having to lean toward the side wind just to stay up. And I can't imagine what those solid wheels would do in that kind of a situation. Cruise bike. Dog is saying that Amazon delivered something to the house and it wasn't for her. She knows that. She's really upset. Dang, guys. You know what? I didn't know if my dogs would protect me. I've got a Catahoula. You can look that up. Catahoula. Catahoula. Not a real popular breed. Getting more popular. AKC finally recognized them a few years back. They are a breed from Louisiana. They've been around since the 1600s. The Native Americans in Louisiana bred them to be big cat dogs. Like they would go up in the trees and pull the pumas out of the trees. They climb trees, okay? Catahoulas are amazing. Now they're used for herding cattle, catching pigs. They're tough dogs, tough dogs. He's about 70, 75 poundish. He's a big boy. They do have some greyhound in their lineage. He's a purebred, and he's more of the thinner. There are some that are being bred in Texas that have more of a stocky, kind of a pit bull look to them. They've got a real blocky head, and their body type is more stocky. Their legs aren't quite as long. Our boy is more of the greyhound look to him. And then we have a Pyrenees Akbash. I'm sure you all know what a Pyrenees is, but an Akbash, Akbash. Your spell checker will not like that word. It'll change it to all kinds of fun things. But Akbash, Kenneth, I doubt it. But the Catahoulas do have a higher bite rate per capita than pit bulls. I think Chihuahuas might beat both of them out. Chihuahuas will bite their owner, right? I mean, seriously, we had a Chihuahua. She was pretty tough. But they do have a reputation, and delivery drivers who know Catahoulas, they're pretty easy to spot. They say you can go into the yard with a Catahoula, whereas with a pit bull, you might not want to go into the yard. The Catahoula is going to sit there real quiet and just stare at you. It's going to watch you the whole time you're in the yard. And as soon as you turn your back and start to walk away, that's when they strike. That's what I've heard and read in articles. Delivery drivers don't. You have 8 Chihuahuas, never bit. Oh, yeah, ours came from a troubled background, unfortunately. Our friend passed away and we got her from him. But his house was a father and 3 sons. They were wrestlers, they were football fans, they were fighters, they were drinkers, they were partiers. A lot of noise, a lot of fighting, and that little dog was traumatized. She was a tough girl though, man. She was a very tough girl. But she just didn't like it when my husband and I showed affection for each other, because she owned me, and then quite separately, she owned him. She didn't own us together as a couple, and we surely didn't own her. She owned us separately, and that's how she liked it. We kept everything in its place, and a place for everything. And that little girl, she did not like us hugging. Oh my gosh, she was funny. Oh yes, Chihuahuas. Anyway, so we have the Akbash Pyrenees mix, and we don't know, half of her lineage is a question mark, but judging by the attitude of her mom, who is the question mark, we don't know for sure what she was. She kind of sounds like a Catahoula, because she actually, all by herself, treed 2 hunters that were on the sheep ranch where she came from, or where she got dumped, and that's where we got the puppies. She treed 2 hunters by herself. They were there without permission. Well, thank you, Sanem. And then later, the owner of the sheep ranch, they kept her because she bred with one of their dogs and they couldn't find her owners or anything. So they kept her till she had the puppies, and we ended up with 2 of the puppies, and we still have one of the puppies. The other one died, unfortunately. Well, broke my heart. He was my boy. Anyway, the mom treed an adult mountain lion that was eating a deer that it had just killed. This dog did that all by herself. So this tells me that dog was not, she looked like a Labrador, she looked like a black lab. She was not a black lab. She had a lot of telltale signs of a Catahoula. So this dog that we have in the house now, that is my protector, that thinks that she's all that in a bag of chips, she's Akbash, those are badass dogs. Pyrenees, another badass dog, and possibly Catahoula. It is the trifecta of dogs that will protect you. However, she is more like a cat in her behavior. She doesn't need people. If I call her over to give her affection, she'll look at me. Sometimes she'll take a step toward me, and then she'll change her mind and go to the bedroom and lie down on the floor next to the bed. Kind of her middle finger to me, like, I don't need you, woman. I need you twice a day to feed me. I need you to let me outside to go to the bathroom, but don't really need you. So I didn't know that she would protect me. I always assumed the Catahoula would protect my husband because that's his heart. Like that dog would bleed for my husband, but I never really felt like he would do anything for me. And then I've also got a little terrier healer mix, and she is my girl. She sleeps with me. She's 14, 15, something like that. I've had her, pardon me, while I put cortisone cream on the chigger bites I got last night when I was taking care of my ducks. If you want to see my ducks, check out my short videos. I had to get them water last night, and I could feel the chiggers biting me on my ankles and my feet. And right now I'm putting cortisone cream on. Anyway, the little terrier mix, she would go home with anyone. I don't think she would protect me. I really don't, because I've been camping with her. I used to take her up into the gold fields of California and go gold prospecting, just me and her. And we would stay in a campground. And, I slept with what did I sleep with? I slept with a rifle just in the back of my truck. I had a camper shell and my 380. And all day long, I had my 380 in my holster. So, I always felt safe, but this little dog was with me as my eyes and ears, let's put it that way. She was lousy at it. I was up the creek one time working with a guy, and we found some good gold. We were on good gold. And someone came up to us, hey, can you come get your dog? It got into these people's car and it won't get out. I said, just tell them to show her a hot dog or a piece of bacon. She'll get out for food. So by the time I got back to the campground, because I had to go back down to the creek and tell the person I was, working with, hey, I'm going to be gone a little while. And then I had to walk to the campground because the person who came and told me that she needed to be taken care of was on a dirt bike. I was going to be gone for quite a while. Somebody came up and told me on my way there, oh no, they got a hot dog, and she got out of the car right away. She would go home with anyone. She's not going to protect me from anybody. Well, I think it was not just this last weekend, but the weekend before maybe. My husband was out of town. He's gone a lot. I'm staring at my little dog right now. My little healer. She's like, you're talking about me again, aren't you, Mom? That is so embarrassing. He came in the back door really quietly. He'd been gone all weekend. I was on the couch. I'm still recovering from a couple years of surgeries. And so I'm tired a lot. I do spend a lot of time napping. I was on the couch, all stretched out, comfortable. Probably listening to a podcast. Anyway, he walks in quietly, and he's standing in the dining room right over there, just quiet as could be. And the 2 big dogs saw him, and they jumped up, and hackles, barking, what you heard her do, times 2 at this strange man standing in the dining room. I didn't see it from his point of view, but he said, oh yeah, they would protect you. So I have to believe him. And I saw it, man. Those 2 dogs surprised me. I always thought Jaja would let something bad happen to me, and then as you were leaving, she would like bark at you. No, no, she was ready to take him on. If he had been a stranger, no, those two big dogs, she weighs about 78 pounds. The Catahoula weighs in the 70-pound range as well. So there was close to 150 pounds of dog snarling at him, like 0 to 60 so fast. And then, of course, the little one's down there like, hey, this is fun, woof, woof, being like the clown that she is. She's a clown. She's so funny. You want some ducks, Gary? You have goats, and I have goats. Ducks are different maintenance. My ducks are the Muscovies. They're more of a goose. Genetically speaking, they're closely related to geese versus ducks. They're tree ducks is what they're called. They will nest in trees, a lot like turkeys. If you're driving down the road and you see, sometimes you'll see a bunch of ducks up in a tree. Oh, that's interesting. That's Muscovies. They'll also nest in trees if there's a hollow in a tree where maybe a raccoon might build a den. Oh, they'll build a nest in there. Raccoon would love to find that. That's a good meal for a raccoon, the duck and all the eggs. Anyway, they don't need water. In fact, I've had Muscovies that will not take a bath. The only time they get a bath is when I hose them down, spray them real hard. No, you don't need a pond. In fact, you don't even need a tub for them to bathe in, although I do give them bathing tubs, but not in their coops, usually. I've got one coop right now with a bathing tub in it because it's stall mats and they're easy to clean. So they have a tub and there's 14 babies in that coop. So they need to be, swimming and having a good time. But the moms, they'll go weeks or months without a bath. I've got a drake right now. He's just a yard bird and he's got a bathtub. He can take a bath anytime he wants. He doesn't really want to bathe that much. As long as you give him drinking water. They do like their drinking water. But you have to be careful of the type of duck you get. If you get a regular duck, a mallard type duck, which is everything but Muscovies, they do need water. They are messy. My Muscovies, I give them a kiddie pool in the summertime sometimes, depending on where we live. Right now, we moved a year and a half ago, a little more than a year and a half ago. We had a creek in our yard. They would bathe in the creek and have a grand old time. It could be snowing out. There could be ice everywhere. They'd be in the creek taking baths. They loved it. Loved that creek. And I loved the fact that it flowed and I didn't have to clean it. That was perfect for me. They ate the crawdads in the creek. They did all kinds of fun stuff in there. But then we moved them to our ranch property because we had a rat problem at that house. Like we had wolf rats, which I'd never heard of and I've never seen, but I saw the damage they did. They ate a lot of eggs. They ate a lot of eggs that were just ready to hatch, and they taught my ducks how to be cannibals, and I hated them for that. So we moved all of them to a different place where now I just have to struggle with rat snakes, the big snakes. You can see my rat snake videos. I have a playlist. I don't know how many videos I have in there, but I've gotten 3 rat snakes out of that coop. The last one had an egg inside of its belly and one in its mouth. I just remove them and take them to a different part of our ranch. We've got 65 acres. I get in my car and I drive down to the far edge of our property and I let them go where they can be snakes. Cats, you know what, Gary, they can share a coop with chickens, but chickens I've had chickens teach them egg eating in the past. So, and feather plucking. Once the ducks learn to pluck feathers, they get that taste of blood in their mouth. Blood is a pleasant flavor, apparently. Ducks and chickens like the flavor of blood. Once the ducks figure out that pulling feathers leads to that delicious blood taste, they are damaged. So I try not to keep my chickens and ducks together because the chickens do teach the ducks bad behavior. And once they learn that bad behavior, they don't unlearn it. In fact, I had to make my ducks go almost a year without letting them sit on eggs because of what the rats taught them. They had to forget to break open those eggs and eat them. As soon as the babies pipped through the eggshell, the adults would attack the egg and eat it. That's what happened with my ducks. So I had to pull a whole bunch of eggs and get my incubator up and running in the middle of the winter quickly. And I was able to save a lot of the eggs, but there was cannibalism going on because of what the rats taught my ducks. And I'm still not positive that my flock is completely cleared of that behavior. I do have one drake that's kind of being a little bit sketchy, and I may have to put him in the bachelor pad. He's in with a bunch of the ladies right now. Yeah, and also, Gary, a male duck, you guys are all going to learn something now. A male duck has a penis. A male chicken does not. When chickens mate, it's more like a kiss, and that's where everything is transferred. When ducks mate, it's actually a penis, and a duck can kill a chicken if he breeds with her. And a chicken might not know that it's not going to end well for them. So you have to keep a drake out. But my daughter has chickens, and she may be adding ducks to her flock, some of mine, because her children stay with us in the summer, and they have some pet chickens here that they might want to have at their house. 1 or 2 chicken hens would probably be okay with your, duck hens with your chicken hens would probably be okay, but you would have to watch for the feather plucking. And you may not have an egg problem with yours, but I did with mine. I just didn't have nest boxes that were where the eggs were hidden, you know? How many people are even in here? Are we talking 7 people? Hey, thanks to the 4 of you who gave me a thumbs up. I appreciate that. They also don't always need, if you have a predator problem, you want them in a coop. I have 2 yard birds right now that wander around. D1 is a drake that used to be at the bottom of the pecking order. Now he's pretty darn tough, and he's walking around with a little duck hen. Her name is Wobble. So Wobble and D1 are fine in the yard. We do have raccoons, we have bobcat, fox, coyote, but they're not up at the goat pen / duck area yet. I hope they never come. I did find some coyote poo outside the goat area last year. D1 is, hey, cat. Howdy, neighbor. D1 was named that because he is a duck without a name, D1. And he's a stud. He's got that thing going on. He kicked the crap out of his brother last week, and it really gave him confidence. And his brother is super mean, and now he's been put in his place. So that was good to see. I like when that shift happens, because D1 is actually a decent boy. He's very sweet to his ladies. He's not a bully in the coop. He's had as many as, I think, 6 hens in his coop, and he's never been a bully. I mean, he always, they have to establish themselves as the dominant one, so they have to pin the new girl down. But once that's over with, he's a cool guy. And he only got removed because the babies were hatched, and I was not sure how he was going to be with them. But he's wandering around being a big old guy now. So I was going to talk about weight, but I ended up talking about everything else, you guys. I just wanted to let you know, it's taken me 3 months to lose 10 pounds. I wasn't overweight. I just like to weigh a certain amount. And I had gained that 10 pounds on purpose in the late spring and early summer because I thought I might have to have another major surgery. And I got down, to me, frighteningly thin. According to the body mass index, I was slightly thin. I'm 5'5.5". I weighed 111 pounds after my last major surgery. A year ago, May, I think it was a year ago, May. And that 111 scared me. So I put on 10 pounds before I went in for my last colonoscopy because I thought I was going to have major surgery again. And I knew that I was going to lose a bunch of weight. Well, I didn't have to have surgery. Everything was good. It really was kind of thin for me. I've not weighed I weighed less than that years and years ago when I hurt my back and I was nauseated for 3 months. And I actually got down, I didn't have a scale. I didn't own a scale at the time. I got down to 103. I went to the doctor with my daughter and they weighed her and, you know, did all that stuff. And then left the room and I thought, I wonder how much I weigh, because I hadn't been eating. I was nauseated for 3 months. I hurt my back. They gave me a new chair at one of my jobs. And they threw away my old chair. By the time I realized what the problem was, and I went and I asked the guy, the maintenance guy, I said, hey, where's my chair? He said, oh, those went out in the dumpster. They're gone. Anyway, hurt my back. I'm going to have to end this one. That strange man just walked in the house. He's back early. You guys know what? We'll talk about it another time. Hey, sweetie. They didn't attack you this time.
No.
No. I'm on a live feed.
Okay.
Did you go by to see your dad? We can go together. I've got some bird seed for his bird feeder. Okay, guys, have a good day. I will see you later, and we'll talk about this again. Bye-bye.